I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spend all of my time and get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love. I used to think a winner was all I really had to be, to make my family proud, to make something out of me. I was good at everything, we don't doubt it. Said I could be anything that I wanna be. But what does that mean? Oh, I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spend all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love. Sometimes you need to look out beyond your own 2 feet. Didn't see what's out there until I climbed that tree. We all wanna be first, I don't doubt it. Sometimes that's the worst part of me. My apologies. Oh, I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spent all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby. Don't waste your time, baby. Don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shauna. I'm one of the teaching pastors here, and welcome to our first week of The Measure of Success. Success can be measured in many ways. College degrees, salary, relationships, health. I mean, the list can go on and on. Well, I have another way. The number 5, as in 5 kilometers. And to help me explain what that means, I have my friend Danielle Green here with me to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Shauna. Since 2003, Kensington has partnered with Pokot Outreach Ministries, otherwise known as POM, to reach the Pokot people of Western Kenya. One of the ways we serve the Pokot people is to help provide clean drinking water through our Hope Water Project ministry. And that brings us to the 5 kilometers Shauna was talking about.
All right, Danielle, I think you can take it from here. I'm gonna go start training for this 5K.
Good luck! Coming up on June 3rd, we're hosting our 9th annual 5K and Fun Run. This is for everyone of all ages. Whether you're an avid runner running a sub 5-minute mile, or just someone who'd like to have some fresh air and enjoy hanging out with some really cool people. This is a great way to support the beautiful people in Western Kenya from thousands of miles away.
Woo! All right. Okay, well, I think I'm ready now. But training aside, this really is an incredible opportunity that we have to make a huge difference in people's lives.
There are estimated to be over 1 million Pokot living in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, but we consider them to be family. And over the past 13 years, more than 135 wells have been installed. With each one, villages have grown, lives have been saved, communities have been formed, and thousands of people have heard the gospel for the very first time.
Which is absolutely incredible. And having just been with the Pokot a few months ago, I witnessed firsthand the impact of clean drinking water. But I also saw how there is still so much more to be done. So grab your phones, put it on your calendar, lace up your favorite pair of running shoes, and join us on June 3rd. You can register by going to kensingtonchurch.org/HWP. And I gotta tell you, I look forward to the Hope Water Project 5K every year. And something else, though, that I'm really excited about is our upcoming women's retreat. Are you gonna be there?
I wouldn't miss it.
Cool, I'm also gonna be there. So women, whether you are young, single, married, an empty nester, seasoned, or somewhere in between, we invite you to join us for a few days away. It will be a time to connect with other women, to adventure together, to discover beauty, to experience joy, and to grow in your faith journey. All women are invited to join us for our retreat on May 19th through the 21st at Spring Hill Camps. And men, we would love for you to invite the women in your life to come be a part of this incredible weekend experience. It's going to be an amazing few days where we will embrace rest, implore grace, and inspire love. We can't wait to see you and gather together as women at this year's retreat.
We love our Hope Water Project. We've been doing that for years, maybe even decades now, and our women's retreat. So I just want to encourage you to check out those things online because we would love to have you there. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you? For those of you who don't know, my name's Adam. I'm part of the team here at CT, and I just want to start off by saying whether you're here in our room or you're checking us out online, we're so glad that you are here with us today. We're actually starting a brand new series today called The Measure of Success, which is why we opened with that package. It's a little bit different than a normal song you might hear sung at church, because I think that song speaks to a tension that a lot of us feel. That in this life we pursue quote-unquote success, but if we're honest, we probably have significantly different definitions of what success is, and then we chase what we think will bring it, and we find that it actually leaves us a little bit lacking, and that's that we're going to be pressing in today. We actually have Shauna, who is one of our teaching pastors. You saw her in the video, here to lead us today, and we're really looking forward to this series and the practical application. So glad that you are here with us and being a part of that with us today. Now, last week was a big week. We had baptisms. We had an opportunity for people to jump in and be a part of some of our serving tiers, but we also had this vote where we were voting to confirm our new senior pastor candidate, and we want to take a moment and celebrate that Brian Mowry was voted in with almost a 99% approval rating. So the search, yeah, you can clap for that. For the senior pastor of all of Kensington is over. They reached out to Brian. He said, yes, he is coming. So we're over that obstacle, and we're excited to see their family come here and start to press in and be a part of our church. But we want to ask you to actually be praying for them. They've got 4 daughters that range from 10, I think, to 17. And anytime you're in transition, it's pretty difficult. You're saying goodbye to friends and loved ones and coming to a new space. So be in prayer for them, for the move, for looking for a place to live here, for their daughters getting settled into school, and just all of the things that happen in that. Our expectation is they will probably be here towards the end of the summer. So we're really looking forward to having a leader of all of Kensington and moving forward and seeing what the next step and phases look like here in our church. So those are the big things. Have a couple of just practical announcements for y'all. Next week, we're going to have midweek. Want to invite you out to that. It's going to be May 17th, a time where we can come and worship and hear a message. So we'd love to invite you out to that as well. And then the following month, we're actually going to have a night of worship instead of a midweek. So just want to tease that out now. Look forward to sharing more details with you coming up for that in the future. And then one last thing for our Kensington men, the discipleship group that meets on Tuesdays is over for the year, but they're going to be meeting every other week over the summer. If you're interested in that, stop out at the hub. They have some details, or you can find Jim Henkel. Jim, will you raise your hand for me over there? That's Jim. He would love to share any details or answer any questions that you have about that. Now, if anything I said went over your head or you weren't paying attention, it's totally fine. I used to do that in church all the time until I was like 40. So you're good on that as well. But if you have a question, you can stop out in the hub. There's people with bright orange shirts. They would love to answer your questions. Just have the opportunity to meet you. And then if this is your first time, we have a little something for you just to give to you to say thanks for being here with us today. Now, today is Name Tag Sunday. Y'all got one on the way in. And the question we asked was, what is your your favorite way to buy something? Are you thrifty? Is it Facebook Marketplace? Are you new? I'm kind of like new within reason. If it gets expensive, then I jump onto Facebook Marketplace. Anybody like that? Yeah? Okay, all of the rest of you, you need to get a little frugal in your life. It's okay. No, but why don't we go ahead, stand up, shake some hands, and maybe ask each other that question before we move on any further today.
Hey Kensington, Sam Anderson. We're gonna connect with some people here on the street. We're at Campus Martius in Detroit. We're gonna talk about success. How does our culture define success? How do you define success? Are you, in fact, successful? So let's go, let's talk to some people. How would you say our culture defines success?
By the media.
By the media?
You know, social media.
Yeah.
Having a culture, a positive culture, having a positive mindset, having people around you, really just have it. Well, we gotta cut.
Huh?
We gotta cut.
Why we gotta cut? You're right on it, man. No.
There needs to be something fulfilled. So there's a goal, and then that gets completed.
Money, I guess, maybe.
Money?
Yeah.
But I really do think that having a lot of people with different backgrounds, a different perspective on life, and just all different backgrounds really come together to do one thing is what it's all about. You know,
Fast living, sports cars.
Yeah.
You know, the living a life like a rock star.
Accomplishments and materialistic things, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I would say status.
Status?
Yes.
Okay, what do you mean by status?
How far you get, maybe it'd be degrees or within a workplace, like titles.
Okay, how would you define success?
Not having to think about money.
Okay, like you have so much of it?
No. Just like, you know, like I don't have to worry about like either like rent or mortgage or any of that kind of stuff, and just like, just like less stress, less worry.
I'm working hard.
Okay.
Grinding.
So I define success, there's a number of things. It could be financially. Obviously, money is always a good thing to have.
Yeah.
But just setting goals through life and hitting those goals.
For me, it's impact.
Okay.
And the things that I'm doing, how they impact the community that I live in.
Yeah.
And how, you know, the people around me perceive me.
Family.
Okay.
Family.
Like
Family.
Family support. Being
right.
supported by the family.
Yeah.
Actually having a firm foundation.
Yeah.
You know, being able to actually standing on your own.
Yeah.
You know, not relying on individuals.
You know, life of happiness, so whatever that might look like, whether it be experiences, sometimes it's financial, but getting to a place where it's like I want to comfortably do the things, see the things. Giving back, I would say, is a part of it too.
Would you consider yourself successful?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, why?
I get to do basically, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, right on. I love it.
Yeah.
Would you guys consider yourselves successful?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Getting there.
Getting there, on the way.
Yep.
On the journey.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks, dude.
Cool.
That's it. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Well, good morning. It is great to be here with you today as we kick off our series, Measure of Success. Now, success is defined as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. It's meeting a defined range of expectations. And as we saw in that video, people can define success in many different ways. But one thing is the same, I think, across all people. And that is that we want to achieve it. Me included. I want to achieve success in my life. We want to experience it in our relationships, in our marriages. We want to have it in our careers, in our hobbies, the different activities. We want to have success. And so many times then we base our decisions, our actions, or even our relationships by how we think we can experience it, that what will bring us to success. But when you think about it, how many things do you brag about, or maybe you take pride in, or maybe even just work really, really hard at because you think it will bring you success? But does it? I mean, maybe it doesn't really matter. Which kind of reminds me of the story In 1945, there was a Japanese soldier who was deployed to Lubang Island, and his mission was to stay and fight. But soon afterwards, the Japanese forces withdrew, and so everyone left the island. They dropped these pamphlets onto the island to say the war was over. Well, this one particular soldier thought that those leaflets were enemy propaganda. So he said no. So he decided to stay on the island so that he could finish this mission that he was given. And he stayed for 30 years. For 30 years, he defined success by accomplishing this mission. A mission that no longer even mattered. Which makes me think, what does matter then when it comes to success? Like, how do we actually measure success? What does that look like for those of us who are Christ followers? Over the next couple weeks, we are going to lean into some of those questions, and we're going to see what it can mean for our lives. Now, today, we are going to navigate measuring success, and measuring success with tomorrow in mind. And so as we continue the service, I just want to take a moment and pray and ask God that he would speak to us and really open our hearts today. Will you join me? God, I just thank you so much for today. I thank you for this opportunity to be together and for everyone who is online. And God, as we start off this new series and we talk about success, I pray that we would hear from you today, that you would speak to our hearts, and that you would give us an eternal perspective, and that we would be able to begin to see things through your eyes today, and that we would see success how you do, God, and that we would be able to put aside the temporary and focus on you. In your name, amen. Now, when we talk about success, there's a lot of things you probably think about. And one of the things when it comes to Kensington that I think we have been extremely successful at is our relationship with Indigenous leaders all over the world. It's something that is one of the heartbeats of who we are here at Kensington. And we have these relationships in so many different places, from India to Nepal to Kenya. And really, we are seeing success as lives are being transformed. Hundreds and thousands of lives are being transformed by the love and the hope of Jesus in these places. Even just this last week, we had a team return from Nepal. They were there as a part of a survivors conference. They put on this conference for girls who have been rescued from human trafficking. And they were able to help equip them. And these girls have gone through trauma training, and they've been given some skill training. And now they are actually women leaders in their communities. They are empowered, and they are making a difference and continuing to transform lives. And all of that happens because of our partnership here at Kensington. And it's because of you. And one of the ways that we are able to partner is financially. And so at this time of the service, we are going to receive our offering. And there's different ways you can give. The bag will pass you by, or on the screen there, you can see the different ways that you can give electronically. But we just invite you to jump in and be a part of this with us, this mission to continue to see lives being transformed both globally and locally here within our own communities. And so we say thank you so much for your faithfulness and for your giving. Now, success, when it comes to that, one of the phrases that you've probably heard around success is climbing the ladder of success. And this is something that we really experience in our culture because we believe that if we can just climb higher and higher and higher, that we will find more success and really become more powerful. And the thing is, this starts at a very early age. Like, I can remember as a little girl, one of the things that I wanted so badly, like so badly, was a real Cabbage Patch doll. All right, I have a picture of one. Look at that. Any other 80s kids out there, this is what I had to have. And I was so excited when I finally got one, and she came with a certificate and everything. It was official, and I loved this thing. But the problem was, they continued to make them better. So then I needed the next new doll. And the other doll, look at the hair on that doll. It went from yarn to silky flowing hair. And I was like, oh man, I have to have that doll. And so it wasn't this big thing, but I thought as a kid that if I got that new doll, I would have a little bit more success. I'd be better than other kindergartners or whoever. So it was a small step, but I still climbed that ladder because I needed to have that success in my life. Well, of course, it didn't stop there because I can remember being in middle school. And one of the things I was consumed with in middle school, climbing the ladder of success, was that I wanted to be one of the top students in my class. So I was kind of the overachiever. I worked really hard. I did all the extra projects. I did all the extracurriculars. I did whatever I could to help achieve this status where I could be the top in my class so that I could be the best. Well, of course, after middle school, guess what? There's another ladder. And in high school, one of the things that I really wanted to achieve was I wanted to be one of the best musicians. So I played multiple instruments. I was in band, and saxophone was my instrument. And so I needed to be first chair because, see, first chair means you're the best. And so I practiced, I rehearsed, I did all the work. Then I was a part of things outside of the school. So I was like in orchestras, I was in these other bands because I needed to get to the top because I thought if I can get to the top, well, then I will have achieved the success that I need. Well, after high school, guess what? There's another ladder in life. And so then I was off to Bible school. And then after Bible school, there's more ladders. And they kind of just get taller and taller because then I had a job. And then I needed to get, climb the ranks in my job, in my career, and what I was doing. And then I met my husband. So then we got married. And then it was kind of like, well, I have to excel as a wife. I can't be just a wife. I have to be like the best wife. And so then I climbing this ladder to try and be the best wife. And then we have kids. And same thing, I have to be the best parent. And then Pinterest came out. You guys, Pinterest ruined it all. It's like its own ladder that you can never achieve. I will never be the Pinterest parent. But it seemed like no matter what I did in life, there was always another ladder to climb. And maybe you can relate. Maybe it was getting into the top school of your choice, to that college, and you're like, okay, if I just get there, then I will have success. Or then it was getting that job after college, and getting the promotion. Then it's meeting someone. Maybe it's getting married, or maybe it was losing the weight, getting the promotions, working your way up in that job. It's starting a family. Maybe it was buying that dream car, or getting the apartment, but then you're like, oh, we need a house, and then the house becomes a dream house. But it seems like no matter how high we go, and as soon as we think we've reached the pinnacle of success on the ladder, we just discover that there is another rung or another ladder to climb. And the ladders just get taller and taller and taller. But it's not just that the ladders get taller and taller. It's usually the fact that we also have multiple ladders in our life. So we'll have different ladders all at the same time. And then it can kind of get a little messy because maybe we have a ladder for family, for relationships. Maybe there's a career ladder. Maybe we have a money ladder. And maybe there might even be a spiritual ladder. And so maybe we're doing really good on the career ladder. We're climbing it up. We're like, oh yeah, we got this thing. You're getting the promotions. It's feeling really good. But maybe the family ladder ain't doing so hot. Maybe you feel like you're on the bottom rung. Or you've climbed it and you've fallen off. Or maybe you've climbed a different ladder and it feels like someone even knocked you off. And it feels like no matter what ladder you climb, it ends up feeling like you're just weary, overwhelmed, hopeless, frustrated, angry, exhausted. Which then kind of brings up the question of, does that mean we shouldn't pursue success? Is it not really attainable? Or is there a different way for us to measure success? So today we're going to take a look at the life and the accomplishments of one of Israel's king in one of the books in the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes, and the life of Solomon. Now God, he told Solomon to ask him for anything he wanted. Can you imagine that? I mean, like, what would your request be? Whew. It kind of makes me think of Aladdin and the whole wish with the genie kind of thing. Now, Aladdin, he wanted to be prince, and there was this whole, like, Prince Ali, fabulous. It's a really great, fun part of the movie. But Solomon, he was already king, so he didn't need to have the musical number. He requested wisdom. I don't know if that's what I would have requested. I think Solomon is a much better person than I. But he requested wisdom to be able to lead God's people as king. And since he asked for such an honorable thing, and because he didn't ask for like money or power or a long life, which is probably more like what I would have asked for, because if I had more money, I can buy more shoes. I'm just gonna be honest, like that was where all my money would go. But since Solomon did not ask for that, God honored his request. and he gave him all of the above. Like Solomon became one of the wisest, wealthiest, and most accomplished kings ever, as in like all of human history ever. So what does a guy who had everything he could want and more reveal to us about success? We're going to read in Ecclesiastes 1, and it says, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Well, that's not so encouraging. Solomon, who refers to himself as the teacher, he says that it's meaningless. He describes life as meaningless. It almost is a little harsh. But when I think about it, my guess is that for some of us at times, life has felt meaningless. Other translations use the word frustrating. So whether or not life has been meaningless, my guess is that it has been frustrating at times. I mean, I know it has for me. And as you continue to read through Ecclesiastes, we see that Solomon, he's trying out all these different ladders to see if one can bring him that success and a sense of satisfaction. And he concludes that life, there are a lot of ladders. It is full of ladders. But that they just don't matter. Now, the world is definitely a much different place now than when Solomon was king. But some of the ladders that he tried to climb looking for success and for that satisfaction are still the same of what we have today. And so I want to take a closer look at a few of those ladders and see why Solomon said they're meaningless. So the first ladder that we're going to look at today is the ladder of money. Now Solomon, he was rich. Like, we're talking stupid rich, which meant he had a lot of very nice and expensive things. Like, take his throne, for example. He did not just have a normal royal throne, kind of like maybe what King Charles, if you watched the coronation yesterday, what he had. Oh, no. This throne was way better. It had at least 6 steps leading up to it, and on each step, there was golden animal statues, like multiple golden animal statues on every single step, and these animals made the noises of those animals. Plus, there was a way that he could scatter fragrant spices, so like he had a perfume button or something. I don't even know what this is. But obviously this guy had way more money than he knew what to do with. And so with all of that dough, his conclusion though, is that it doesn't matter. We continue to read and it says, is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new. It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. So Solomon, he says that climbing this ladder is like chasing after the wind. Have you ever tried to chase the wind? Kind of reminds me, last fall I was out in Vancouver, Canada, visiting my family, and I was with my 4-year-old niece, and she tried to chase the wind. It was really cute and really charming. Like I was smiling. I was like, oh gosh, this is so adorable. And then there was like a feather kind of blowing in the wind, and then it got really comical because I was like, there is no earthly way this girl is ever going to catch the wind or that feather. And finally, she gave up because she couldn't do it, and she was frustrated. She was annoyed at her lack of success. And Solomon is saying is that when we chase after the ladder of money, it is the same thing. It's like chasing after the wind, which leaves us feeling the same. Annoyed, frustrated, dissatisfied. Now, that's not saying that money is bad, but it never will satisfy us. There was a poll taken, and it asked people, like, how much more money would you need to kind of feel relief in life? Like, there wasn't the pressure where you feel like I could just breathe and everything would be cool. And no matter how much money a person had, whether they just had $1,200 or like $120,000, every single person answered the same way. every person thought that they needed 10% more. Because no matter how much money we have, we always think that it's never enough. That it is never enough. And when it comes to chasing after this ladder, though, chasing after the success of money, I think one of the reasons that we will always feel discontent is because we're designed for the opposite. Listen to what Luke, the author of Acts, says. In Acts 20, it says, "The Lord Jesus himself said, 'It is more blessed to give than to receive.'" See, we are created to be givers. So when we go through life trying to accumulate more and more and more money, it will always leave us feeling dissatisfied because that is not how we have been created. Climbing up this ladder will always leave us feeling dissatisfied. We'll never find fulfillment. The second ladder that we're going to look at today is the ladder, oops, wrong sign, we should do that better, of achievements. Have you ever thought, if I can just achieve X, Y, and Z, then I will feel successful? I mean, I know I have. In all honesty, I have probably lived my life on this ladder. I have constantly pursued achievements as a way of finding fulfillment. In my previous job working at a different church, I received some compliments for some of the things that I did, and well, of course, that made me feel really good about myself. But it also made me feel like, okay, well, because I achieved that, then I'm successful. Like that made me feel like, okay, yeah, I got this. So then anytime another opportunity, a project, an event, whatever came along, I always said yes. Because to me, that meant that I was climbing up another rung on the ladder, that I was making my way, that at one point I was gonna finally experience the satisfaction. I would have success in my life through my achievements. And this really is the culture that we live in. Because whether it is performance-based or the stuff we own, we are constantly trying to achieve more. But the thing is, no matter how hard we work or how awesome the stuff is or our goals are, whether it is achievements for ourselves, for someone else, maybe it's for our kids, maybe it's for your business, for your career, it doesn't matter. Just listen to what Solomon says. He says, "I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. Yet, when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless. A chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun." Solomon, man, he achieved many great things. I mean, he climbed the ladder of achievements super high. He climbed it so high, but no matter how high he climbed, it did not bring him success or satisfaction. He once again says it's like chasing after the wind. It left his soul empty. My previous job, I did a lot. I accomplished a lot. But it left me feeling empty. It left me tired, stressed, overwhelmed. And no matter how high I climbed, no matter what achievements I had, I never found fulfillment or success by trying to climb that ladder. Now, achieving great things is not bad. Please don't hear that. But when our fulfillment becomes dependent on those achievements and climbing this ladder outweighs everything else, that's when it becomes unhealthy. Because when our only hope for fulfillment is found in these things, we will always, always come up short. Because no matter how high we climb this ladder or how awesome the things are that we're trying to achieve, it will never satisfy us. Now, the third ladder that we're looking at is the ladder of pleasure and fame. We read in Ecclesiastes 2, and it says, "I said to myself, 'Come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good.' But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for my toil. Solomon, he was all about pleasure. I mean, he indulged in luxuries, comforts, like whatever he wanted. He lived a big, pampered life with no limits. With no limits. And on top of that, like, he was kind of well known. He was the king. Like, he was insanely famous. Like, if it was today's world, he'd constantly be in the news. Everyone would be following him on social media. You'd be buying his books, listening to his podcast, and wanting to be his friend. I mean, he climbed this ladder to no end. He was all about the pleasure. And even though I don't think many of us are like a famous king or queen, and if you are, I would love to know that about you, I don't think we're that much different than Solomon. Because I think many of us will climb this ladder just hoping if we can just have enough pleasure or enough fun that it will lead to success. So then we entertain ourselves or we indulge ourselves in things or people, devices, substances, and more, climbing it and hoping that we can find that satisfaction or success in some way. Or some of us think if we can just get noticed or affirmed or get some attention from somebody else, well, then we will have success in life. So we continue to climb the ladder. We continue to hope that we'll get maybe noticed at work, or we'll get one more like or one more follower on social media so that we can finally have fulfillment. But Solomon said it's all meaningless. We jump back to Ecclesiastes 1, and it says, what do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? What do they gain? What do we gain? In the end, these ladders just leave us with a feeling that is empty. We feel dissatisfied, overwhelmed, hopeless, angry, envious, exhausted. Pastor and author Francis Chan says, if we only live for what is under the sun, then we will never feel a truly satisfying level of success in life. If we only live for the temporary, we will never experience satisfaction. We'll never reach the next rung or that next ladder that will bring us complete success because it doesn't exist. It doesn't. So when we go through life trying to climb those ladders, we're living for something that's not attainable because it doesn't exist. So if our pursuit of climbing the next ladder or the next rung is meaningless, then how should we measure success? If we're not meant to live for things under the sun, if we're not meant to live for the temporary, maybe that means we're to live above the sun. And we can live above the sun when we live with tomorrow in mind. Ecclesiastes 3 says, I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. There is an eternal longing in every single one of us, and nothing, and I mean nothing under the sun will ever satisfy it. Climbing any of these ladders, it's not going to get us that satisfaction or success because we have been created with eternity in our hearts. So the question then is, how do we live with that as our focus? How do we live with intentionality and purpose to look beyond the moment and actually focus for tomorrow? How do we not be consumed with these ladders and live for the temporary, about money, achievements, about pleasure and fame? How do we do that? Hebrews 12:2 says, we do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of him, because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus. It's focusing our hearts and our lives on Jesus. But let's be honest, because even though for some of us, we love Jesus a lot, it's really easy to get consumed with these things. There's a lot of noise and chaos in our world. And we have a culture that is telling us to try and find success no matter how you do it. So how do we live with a focus on Jesus and with eternity? I have 3 things for us. And the first one is this: create routine. Create routine to spend time with Jesus. Because here's the thing: you cannot hope to focus on Jesus if you never spend time with him. It just won't happen. You have to carve out time in your day on a daily basis where you can spend it with him. Because unless we spend it with him, we're never going to focus on him. And it's just time that you can be with him, where you can talk to him, where you can listen to him, where you can read his word. And maybe that's first thing in the morning, maybe it's over your lunch break, or it's in the evening before bed. But we have to be able to create this routine in our life if we're ever going to focus on him. And as good as it is to come to church for 1 hour, 1 day a week, it's not going to cut it if we actually want to live a life that where we are pursuing a focus on him in eternity, because we need to spend more time with him. So create the routine in your life. Secondly, is sometimes we need to remove distractions. And so we're going to remove the distractions of the ladders. We're actually going to physically move them off the stage right now. We're going to get them out of here. But what or who in your life is keeping your focus off of Jesus? These things are not necessarily bad things, but when they become more important than Jesus, that maybe it's time that we need to shift some things in our lives. So maybe it could be that you binge watch a lot of TV, or maybe it's the food or the shopping that you use to self-medicate yourself. But what are the things that are keeping your focus off of Jesus? And I know when you start to think about all the things that maybe you need to remove out of your life, you might be like, whew, there's way more than I could even begin to handle. I get it. It could feel overwhelming. So sometimes instead of focusing on all the things that maybe we need to remove out of our life, we begin to remind ourselves with this, who Jesus is, and to surround ourselves with more of who he is. Because see, when we put more of Jesus in our life, there's less room for all the temporary things. So maybe it's simply reminding yourself of who he is by putting a note card on your fridge or your bathroom mirror with scripture. It's listening to uplifting music or a podcast. Or maybe it's just going out in nature so that you can be reminded of his majesty and that he is creator. But sometimes we do have to remove things out of our life. Sometimes we need to remove ourselves from even our daily rhythm so that we can experience and focus on him. So shameless plug here. Women, if you have not registered to come to the women's retreat, I would highly encourage you. This is an opportunity where you get to remove yourself from the daily rhythm of your life and get to focus on Jesus for a couple days. I would love to see you there. But remove the distractions. And thirdly, pursue purpose. Pursue purpose. We keep eternity as our focus when we see that there is a kingdom purpose in all that we do. It is seeing the different aspects of our lives as opportunities to share the love and the hope of Jesus with the world around us. And this is a daily thing. And so I have 2 questions that we can ask ourselves as a reminder as we go about our life, as we go about the day-to-day. And the first one is this: how do I do this? Whether it is your job, it's an activity, maybe you coach a little league team. But how do I do this so that it will matter for eternity and not just under the sun? How do you give it purpose? How do you give it a purpose beyond just the temporary? How do you make it matter, whatever it is that you're doing? Because see, when we give it a purpose, it changes our viewpoint so that our desire no longer is about pursuing the success, but that we have an eternal focus. And the second question that we can ask ourselves is, how can this benefit more than just me? Like, who are you doing this for? When we focus beyond ourselves and on others, it creates this opportunity to give a purpose, to share the transforming love of Jesus with the people around us. It gives us an opportunity to make an eternal impact. Create routine, remove distractions, and pursue purpose. Jesus also had eternity in his mind. We read just a moment ago in Hebrews that he was able to keep it in mind by focusing on the joy awaiting him beyond the cross. The cross changes everything. The cross gives us a different perspective to see beyond the temporary and to focus on eternal things. The cross gives us meaning to our otherwise meaningless lives. And so for the next few moments, we want to reflect on the cross. And on your way in, hopefully you grabbed a communion element. If you didn't get one, just raise your hand and our team can bring you one. But we want to take these next few moments to reflect on the cross and what it means for us and how it gives us an eternal viewpoint in our lives, that we can measure our lives through the lens of eternity. And so as we take these next few moments to reflect on that, ask yourselves, what ladders have you been climbing in your life? How can you create routine to focus more on Jesus? What distractions do you need to remove? And how can you pursue an eternal purpose in how you live your life? And so as a team sings this next song, I encourage you to really reflect on these lyrics. Lyrics that embrace the cross and how our worth, our wealth, our success, our eternity is found in that. And so we just invite you at whatever time during this song to receive communion when you feel led. Will you join me as I pray? God, I just pray for each one of us that you would keep eternity as our focus, that you have placed it in our hearts, that we have been created with that, God. And there's so many things in our life that can distract us. There's so many different ladders that we can pursue in hopes of finding that satisfaction or that success. But I pray that you would remind us of who you are, that you would be the one that we pursue the most, and that the things that are temporary be put to the side, God, and that we would pursue you, and that we would have eyes to see through your viewpoint with a focus on eternity. In your name, amen.
There is a hill I cherish, where stood a precious cross, the emblem of salvation, the gift of Calvary. How is it I should profit while he is crucified? Yet as his life was taken, so I was granted mine. My wealth is in the cross. There's nothing more I want than just to know his love. My heart is set on Christ, so I'll count all else as lost. The greatest of my crowns mean nothing to me now, for I counted up the cost, and all my wealth is in the cross. I will not boast in riches, I I pray that would be real for us, that wouldn't be just words or singing. God, that this would be something, an invitation from you that we'd accept to say, I'm not going to put my wealth or my value, and I'm not going to chase things, the things of this world. But Lord, that we'd fix our eyes and our hearts on things that have eternal value, on your love for us, on your goodness, your faithfulness, on the kingdom of heaven, not the kingdom of this world. We know that when we pursue those things, we put all that we have and measure our success in things that fail, Lord, it all becomes vain. It all becomes nothing. It'll let us down every time. You never will, Jesus. So I pray in this moment, God, that we'd be able to say, everything of this world, the world can have, it can keep, but give us Jesus. Give me Jesus. There's nothing more or else that I could want. Just give me Jesus. Amen. We're gonna close with one last song that Tori's gonna lead us in called Give Me Jesus. And this is actually an old hymn a lot of you might actually be familiar with, that a group called Upper Room took and kind of modernized a little bit. I think it's such a beautiful version of this amazing old hymn. And Tori's gonna teach us the chorus in a moment so that we can sing it together when we get to that part of the song. But that, when we sing this, like, please take this moment to do what it is you need to do. If you want to stand and worship with us, please do. But if you want to sit here and just listen or invite Jesus into this moment, or maybe ask him what that might be like, please take the time, feel the freedom to engage with Jesus how you need to. But for those that would like to stand and sing, I'd love to invite you as Tori teaches us this chorus. Give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. Let's sing together, come on. Give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. I don't want anything but you. You're more than every dream come true. All of the things I thought I wanted don't come close to knowing you. Now that I'm yours and you are mine, our love is the secret that I find. I'll spend forever in the pleasure I found looking in your eyes. Give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. More than silver, more than gold. You are the treasure that sing together. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world.
When we measure success with an eternal perspective, it invites us into this posture for our heart to say, give me Jesus. And wherever you're at in your faith journey, I hope that today and this week that you will take a step closer to discovering more of what it means and the satisfaction that can only be found in pursuing Him, of having more of Jesus in our lives. I know for me personally, that is what I want. That I want that to be the cry of my heart. That I would be a person that says, you can have all of this world. You can have all of the stuff. You can have all the temporary. You can have the money, the achievements, but just give me Jesus. And so as we go today, throughout this week, I hope that you will remember and reflect on what it means to have an eternal perspective. That you will pursue Him. That you will remove those distractions and pursue a purpose that has eternity as the focus. I just want to let you know that our prayer team will be down front if you'd like to connect with them. And if you have any questions and you want to just discover more about Kensington, please stop by the hub. Our team would love to connect with you. And when we go this week, measuring success not by the ladders that we climb, by the eternity that has been placed in each one of our hearts. And then we hope to see you back next week for week 2 of Measure of Success. Have a great day.